Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel of Chameli Devi Institute of Pharmacy, Indore. Myself Rashmi Arora, Assistant Professor Pharmacology. Today we will cover plasma expanders part 1. Plasma expanders basically are the high molecular weight substances which exert colloidal osmotic pressure, and when infused intravenously they should retain the fluid in vascular compartments. There are some properties which should be there with the plasma expanders, like they should be exert oncotic pressure comparable to plasma. They should remain in the circulation and not leak out in tissues or to very rapidly disposed of. They should be pharmacologically inert. They should not be pyrogenic or antigenic. They should not interfere with blood grouping and cross-matching of blood. Also, they should be stable, easily sterilizable, and inexpensive. Basically, these are used to maintain the fluid balance. Our total body comprised of intracellular fluid, interstitial fluid, and plasma volume, out of which 60% of the human body is water. Intravascular fluid is the fluid which is inside the blood vessels, and extravascular fluid which is outside the blood vessels, like lymph and cerebrospinal fluid. Extracellular fluids also comprised of plasma and interstitial fluid, the fluid which is present in the space between the cells, tissues, or the organs. And extravascular volume is interstitial fluid and intracellular fluid, total volume present in the body. This is a simple tabular form. Total body weight, 60% of the adult body is water and 1/3 is extracellular fluid. Plasma contains 1/3, 2/3 is interstitial fluid, and intercellular fluid comprised of 2/3 portion of the total body weight. Plasma proteins basically exert constant osmotic pressure. This is a desirable property of any plasma expander. It should exert the colloidal oncotic pressure, and it should be normally between 24 mmHg. Interstitial fluid exerts the hydrostatic pressure, and normally it is 17 mm of Hg. Fluid balance is done by the body in the form of either edema or dehydration or fluid loss. The moment body is under the fluid conditions, then the edematous like conditions appear. The body starts retaining fluid inside the body, and when it gets much more, then the body feedback mechanism gets on, and dehydration or fluid loss in the form of either sweat like conditions exert and exits the extra fluid. This is how the normal physiology works. But here we are talking about the conditions when to employ the substances or plasma expanders. Basically, these are employed under the hypovolemic shock, severe trauma-like conditions, or extensive tissue damage. And the first category is the fluid and electrolytes is colloids. Colloids are the protein substances. Basically, colloids are the mixture in which the particles, they never settle down. After some time, the mixture remains as such. The particles remain suspended in the fluid. They increases the oncotic pressure, and the fluid basically it retains inside the compartment. So the fluid moves from interstitial compartment to the plasma compartment when the protein levels are very low, and it includes the albumin 5% and 25% from the donors, dextran 40, 70, 75 high molecular weight basically, and hetastarch synthetic or from cornstarch. The common examples of daily life we talk about, then we can have a look of colloids, like paints, they are the example of colloids, milk, foam, fog, all these are, they remain same after some time, and means the suspended particles, they remain in the suspended form in the fluid, and they do not change their shape. The indications basically is they are used to treat variety of conditions superior to colloids in plasma volume expansion, but they are more expensive. Adverse effects includes, usually they are safe, however they may are associated with some disadvantages, like they cause the altered coagulation resulting in bleeding. They have no clotting factors or oxygen carrying capacities. That is why we further move down to the blood products. And they are also contraindicated in severe anemia, cardiac failure, or renal insufficiency as well. The second category under fluids and electrolytes is crystalloid. Crystalloids are the clear fluids that supply water and electrolytes. They help to maintain the osmotic gradient between extravascular and intravascular compartments. In the subsequent slides, we will see the difference between colloid and crystalloid, and more clarity comes out with the pictures. The plasma volume expanders, they caused by sodium concentration, and they do not contain proteins, like colloids are the proteins basically, and they contain the fluids and electrolytes that are normally found in the body and inexpensive in nature. Crystalloids are better for treating dehydration rather than expanding the fluid volume, because they are basically maintaining the fluid balance extracellularly, not intracellularly. So they won't increases the plasma volume, rather they are used for the treatment of dehydration. They are used as maintenance fluids to compensate the insensible fluid losses, replace fluids, manage specific fluids and electrolyte disturbances, and promote the urinary flow. They are normal saline, half normal saline, hypertonic salines, lactated Ringer's solution, dextran, high molecular weight, and plasmalite, and some other. Basically they are used in the case of acute liver failure, acute nephrosis, burns, shock, renal dialysis, and some other conditions. Adverse effects includes edema, because they are present extracellularly. The fluid retentions takes place in the extracellular compartment. That is why edematous like conditions appear, especially in periphery or in the lungs. It may dilute the plasma proteins and thereby reducing the oncotic pressure, and their effects may be short-lived. Now look at this picture. When we see about the crystalloids, they maintain the fluids. For example, 5% dextran, if we talk about, the dotted line represents the availability of crystalloids or presence of crystalloids. They are distributed throughout the extracellular and intracellular compartments. And if we talk about the replacement fluids, that is Ringer lactate, that is distributed to the extracellular compartment, and colloidal solutions, they retain basically to the vascular compartment and thus increases the volume. That is why the colloid solutions are mainly used as plasma expanders. Now look at this picture. Fluids are outside the compartment. They tend to move outside towards the periphery and reside in the extracellular space. And colloids, they are the larger molecules. They are protein in nature, and they are confined to the intercellular space or plasma space, and thus increases the volume expansion. The major differences between colloids and crystalloids in terms of its advantages and disadvantages are: crystalloids, they are clear solutions mainly comprised of electrolytes, and that is why inexpensive or cheap. They are non-allergic. They do not transmit any kind of infection or interferes with the coagulation. These are the desirable properties of any plasma expander or volume expander. But the disadvantages are we need higher volumes of crystalloids, and they are relatively short amount of time remaining in the intravascular space, so that is why higher volume is needed. On the contrary, if we talk about colloids, they are expansion, they causes the expansion of plasma volume far superior than crystalloids, and they may be salt sparing. But the disadvantages are many as compared to crystalloids, like they are expansive, they have the risk of allergy, coagulopathy, itching may occur, and they may exacerbate tissue edema. So for the part 1, that's all, but we will continue with crystalloids further in the next part. Till then, stay safe.